Good morning and welcome back to another video. I am in Hull at the moment. I got here last night. I was hoping to load last night. Unfortunately I didn't, but this morning I'm going to go and meet Del Boy. Only joking. Luckily I have a nice comfy next gen instead of a 2800 DAF like Denzel's. I wish I was collecting diamonds instead of wheat distillers. So I'm going to go out, do my daily checks, and then we'll get off down the road. I'm only about 5 minutes away. And I begin my daily checks. I parked in a massive puddle last night, which is going to make my daily checks quite interesting. Looks like I'm going to have to jump the puddle. I made it without getting wet feet. I must say, this industrial estate looks absolutely delightful, doesn't it? Right, that's that done, so we can go. This place that's all lit up as we come round the roundabout is the place where I'm heading into. It does actually look really cool. It's almost like seeing a big carnival cart lit up in the distance, and it kind of makes me feel at home. I got down here last night at about 5:30 and they couldn't load me because they shut at 4:30. So I spoke to the lady and she said, come back at 5 o'clock in the morning, we open at 5 and somebody will be able to give you an induction. Okay, so it turns out I went in for my induction and I wasn't allowed to film anything at all. This is because it is a bioethanol plant and you weren't allowed to take in any sources of ignition. Bioethanol is a sustainable fuel made from, in this case, wheat. It goes through a filtration, fermentation and distillation process to be made into bioethanol, and then it's mixed with petrol to be used as fuel. The byproduct of the wheat is what I'm picking up today, and it can be fed to animals. I'm now out of there and I wasn't allowed to film anything in there. I wasn't even allowed to take my phone in. I am now loaded. It's a bit of an odd place in there. Lots of rules and regulations, lots of form signing. Don't think I've actually ever been through so much to pick up some wheat distillers. I'm just gonna have a little look on my map and find out which way is the best way to go back. I would have done that while I was loading normally, but I couldn't because I wasn't allowed my phone. I'm taking this to Yeovil, Hull to Yeovil. Does anyone else write directions on their hand or is it just me? And then we're off, out of Hull on the A63. Because it was such a dull day, I could only just see the Humber Bridge in the distance. And unfortunately, it didn't come out on the camera, which is a shame because it's an amazing structure. I got stuck in a little bit of traffic around Trowle, and then I stopped in Donington Park Services for a drop of fuel just before getting onto the A42. I wanted to use my fuel voucher to get a coffee, but the coffee machine wasn't working, so I got a donut instead. And then it's out of the services onto the A42, which then turns into the M42. By this point, I am getting close to my 4.5 hours driving, so I make the decision to stop in Hopwood Services for a break. I try to get a space as close to the services as I can, which as you will see in a minute is still quite a walk. Then I get a phone call from my boss. Uh-oh. Hello?
Hello, Wayne Transport.
Alright?
Hey, you?
Yeah?
Good. On the bank holiday, you able to do Friday or Monday?
I said yes because for some reason I can never say no. Then I get up and sort my stuff out for a shower. But before I go, I boil some water and make my porridge so that it's ready for me when I get back. And then I make my way on the long walk over to the services. For some reason, the lorry park always seems to be the furthest away from the services. Nearly there, I can see the building now. And I'm finally in the building. I decide to take the stairs instead of the elevator, up to the toilets and shower. The door is locked, so I ask for the key. They are not sure where it is, so somebody has gone to look for it. After standing there waiting in what seems like forever, they decide that they cannot find the key, so I head back to the truck. This has probably been my only chance for a shower all day. I've stood in a toilet for nearly half an hour waiting for a key before they came back to tell me they didn't know who locked it and they couldn't find the key. Come back to the truck. I'm gonna have to eat my porridge really quickly and go. This is supposed to be our time to chill out. And as truck drivers, we're not getting that time because service stations are so bad in this country for how they treat truck drivers. I had the same problem yesterday in the services. There was no women's showers at all in the main building. They said go over the forecourt, which was unisex showers over there. And the woman just goes and unlocks the door and there's a bloke in there having a shower. And that's not unusual. I've had the door unlocked on me before now, and it's wrong. It should not be happening. And they wonder why there's a driver shortage.
We haven't had a wash or a change of clothes for 2 days now.
And with that, the break is over and it's time to get back on the road. The weather seems to have turned horrible and rainy like my mood as I head back onto the M42. The traffic gets a bit slow through the roadworks on the M5. I come off the M5 at junction 23 and head down the A39, and I cut across to Yeovil via Street Hill. Even with miserable weather, these views are beautiful. And I'm finally on the industrial estate in Yeovil. I have just arrived and it's taken me 6 hours and 3/4 driving to get down here. And good news is the pit is free, so I'm gonna get myself weighed in and have my paperwork in, and then hopefully I can go and tip. Sally's got me weighed in and everything, so now just to get onto the pit and I can go straight on, which is ideal. She said everyone's in a meeting, so I'm hoping, oh no, there's somebody there swooping up, so that's good. At least not everybody's in the meeting, not the person getting me on the pit at least. Alright?
How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, I got wheat still.
Then once he sets it going, I can tip up and let the product go down the pit. This should take about half an hour to 40 minutes to tip, which gives me time to find out what I am doing next.
Gemma,
Hello, alright?
how's it going?
I'm tipping at Yeovil.
So, yeah, right, give us 5 minutes, sort something out for you. Alright? Come
Alright.
at you.
Alright,
Cheers, bye.
bye, bye.
Once I'm empty, I can open the tailboard, sweep out and pack my sock away on the side of the trailer. Once I'm happy that everything is safe and secure, I can pull on to the weighbridge. One of Bayford's has just arrived, so I have to wait for him to weigh in before I can go on the weighbridge. Once he has finished weighing in, it's a little case of musical lorries. As you can see behind me, there is already a truck on the pit ready to tip, and then I get onto the weighbridge. And as I get onto the weighbridge, the truck beside me gets into the position to tip next, so that the Bayford's lorry can park in his spot. Then I just need to pop into the office, get my final ticket, and then I can go. Well, I've just pulled up the road, because Keith hasn't got back to me yet, even though he said 5 minutes. I'm going to ring him back and just remind him that I am still waiting for my next details, because I don't know where I'm going next.
Hello?
Hello, alright?
Yeah, you alright, Jem?
Yeah, I've tipped at Yeovil now.
Okay. I was going to Paul and I tip until 7 o'clock tonight. I don't know if you'll get loaded or tipped or whatever, but I have to see how you get on. Alright.
Yeah, alright then.
Cheers, man.
So I found out where I'm going now. I'm going down to near Dorchester to pick up malting barley from the farm, and I'm taking that to Poole Docks. And I know that somebody mentioned that on a comment a couple of weeks ago, saying that they used to tip at Poole Docks. They tip slightly different to how I tipped up in Immingham, where you had the big grab crane. They normally tip on a conveyor belt. So you can see the difference of how they tip up there, down there.
They send the details through on my phone portal, so I check the details, find out where the farm is, ring the farmer, and then head down to the farm. The farm is near Dorchester, so I take the 37 from Yeovil to Dorchester. It's pretty foggy on the way down, and I'm hoping it's not going to be like that at the farm, as I have to back in off the road. Luckily, it's not so bad on the B road up to the farm. And this is the entrance that I need to back into, so as I'm approaching, I put my hazards and beacons on to let everybody know that I'm doing a manoeuvre. The road is a little bit slippery, and I'm very aware of the amount of room I have at the front of the cab to swing it round as I'm backing in. And then I just need to back around so that I'm ready to be loaded.
Yeah, not too bad.
The farmer just needs to move a few bits around and then he can load me. He's been waiting to get rid of this load all week, but because of the rain, the boat has been shut, as they don't like loading it in the rain. And then they quickly set about getting me loaded with some malting barley. As I'm sat there, I'm just checking the best way to go down to Poole with the traffic, as I'm going to hit it all at rush hour. And there's always time to have a quick check around the truck as I'm waiting.
It's a bit blustery and wet out there, but the farmer's given me the grain passport so I can fill that out.
Once I'm loaded, it's time to head down to Poole. The traffic doesn't look too bad either way I go, so I'm just going to go the best way for time and mileage. So I take the A35 down to Poole. Once I'm in Poole, I just follow the boat signs on the road down to the harbour. This is such a good idea and makes it so much easier for drivers. And I'm here and on the weighbridge.
Well, I weighed in. I won't get my sample taken yet because the sampler is right over there. There are about 20 lorries in the queue down to the gantry where they test the barley. They're two abreast all the way down, and they've sent the remaining lorries into another space to park up because they literally can't get us in. So I've been here now for, how long have I been here? 9 minutes. Nothing's moved, and looking at the weather out there, I don't reckon I'll move today. I reckon they've shut the boat and that's it for the night. A lot of the time they will not load a boat when it's raining at all, especially when it's rainy and windy like this. Enough of that. And what you have to do as a driver in this situation is sit and wait and just hope that you will get moving soon. As I'm pretty certain that I will not be tipping in the next at least half an hour to an hour, I'm going to make some tea. So what I'm having tonight is, I've got some vegetables in there, I've got some salmon, I've got some winter grains, so it's like rice and stuff, with a cheese sauce. So let's sort this out.
So the first thing I'm going to do is put my greens in the microwave for about 5 minutes. And then I am going to do the winter greens. This is a warming blend of red rice, black lentils, chestnuts with the tart taste of cranberries and seasonal spices. It's not what I normally have. I normally have a Mexican rice, but I thought I'd go for something different. Try it out, innit? So I want about half of the pack because I use the other half tomorrow. Oh, smells fruity. Take one of my salmons out. So stick my salmon in there as well. Delicious. I'm just going to put a little bit of my creamy parmesan and cheddar sauce. So I only want about half a pack of this as well. And this is what it looks like. Cheese sauce, salmon and my rice. And I will just swap that over with my greens in the microwave once they're done. And then I have a nice round healthy meal. I'm going to take my vegetables out. And then, as you can see, I'm still in the queue. And put my rice and everything back in. And I'm going to put it on for about 3.5 minutes. It's going to be yummy. Put my cup of water in. Put that on for 5. So, let's have a look at this. I've got my cooked salmon, rice and sauce and my cooked veggies, and I'm just gonna chuck my veggies on top. So I've got some green beans, broccoli, peas and cabbage in there. Right, I'm sure you don't want to see me eating this, so see you in a bit. It's now 7:45 and I haven't moved at all. I've run out of time. I'm gonna have to take my 9 hours off. I've done a 15-hour day, so it can only count as a 9 tonight. Even if it's 10 or 11, it will count as a 9. I know some people are asking about me explaining the hours better, but I didn't want to bore you. I might go into a bit of detail at some point or do a separate video on it for people who actually want to know. Obviously, they're not going to tip us tonight. We'll be in the morning now. I'm just going to have to get up early and try and find out when they are actually going to tip us. Hopefully it's not going to rain, because if it rains, we could be stuck here all day tomorrow. Unless they decide that they've got space in a shed and we go and tip in the shed. I'm just going to settle down for the night. So I've got this week's video to edit anyway, so I'm going to get on with that. It's still horrible out there, and I don't know if you probably can't hear, but it is blowing a gale and pouring down with rain out there.
The next day, the weather had improved and it had stopped raining, even though it was still quite windy. They got through the big queue quite quickly and I managed to tip by about 9 o'clock, and as you can see, it's on big conveyor belts rather than the big grab cranes that I've shown you before. This does take a little longer than a tailboard tip, but it still only takes around 15 minutes. Thanks for watching.